We actually like to say that this is not an exhibition, but an experience. It's a journey back in time that takes us directly to 1912 and places us on board Titanic. We do this by basically using 3 different columns in the exhibition. The first column would be the original artifacts. This collection of items we have here from Titanic is unique and extremely human because we have worked during years to be able to find those artifacts that had a human story behind.
We have gone to families related to the Titanic, people who were on the ship, and we have also gone to certain collectors who have had a lot of material about the ship. We have tried to gather artifacts that speak very much from the human side of the whole story of the Titanic.
The second column would be the recreations of inner parts of the ship or rooms of the ship, and this helps us place our visitors on board Titanic physically. People will be able to walk through a first-class corridor, compare a third-class cabin with a first-class cabin, see a watertight door full scale, or even touch a small iceberg. And the idea behind these recreations is empathy. We need to place our visitors on board Titanic so that they become passengers. And the third basic column in the exhibition is the real story of the ship. Everybody knows more or less the story of Titanic, but there's a lot of myth and legend on it.
What we bring out here in the exhibition is the stories of the real people that were on the Titanic.
All visits in the exhibition are done with an audio tour, and through a voice, music and sound effects, our visitors can actually feel the story of Titanic. And we also use real testimonies of crew members and survivors to explain what happened on board Titanic.
We have a necklace in the exhibition that comes originally from a woman called Kate Phillips. She worked in this shop and she fell in love with the shop owner. They decided to flee together on the ship. He gave this necklace to her. He died, she survived. But 9 months later, she gave birth to a child that was conceived on the Titanic. There was a couple, Edvard and Gerda Lindell, and they belonged to those who never got a seat in a lifeboat but jumped into the water, swam to a lifeboat that was full of water. He managed to climb into it, but because there was so much water and because it was so cold, he froze to death. But the boat itself drifted away in the darkness. A month later, it was discovered by a passing steamer, and in the bottom of the boat they found this gold ring. There was a 4-year-old girl, Louise Kink, and she was traveling with her mother and her father. So we show now the shoes she had on the Titanic and the blanket that they wrapped around her because of the intense cold in the lifeboat.
As the survivors have died, these are the only real voices that are left from Titanic. They are a unique link between the past and the present, and they speak for themselves.
We want people to be able to identify with the history of the Titanic, because if you can identify, you take the story to your heart.
The final message in the exhibition is very simple yet very important. The story of Titanic is actually not the story of a ship. It's a story of the people that travel on board. Behind each name there is a person with a life to remember and a story to tell.